What is up, everybody? I'm No Lux Given here with your afternoon snap, and today the featured location is Eternity Range, which, to be honest, isn't a super impactful location. I'm not really playing a deck trying to take advantage of the featured location, but I will still battle for it when it shows up, and 2 of the 3 games we're going to look at today will feature Eternity Range. Though, I think the more pressing issue right now in Marvel Snap is location lockdown, as we see my opponent play a Storm to location number 1. There's a lot of this going around right now. The other day we saw Spider-Man plus Absorbing Man, and for all of that nonsense, I think that Reanimator is a pretty good strategy, because this deck can still develop a lot of power despite having some locked down locations. So that's what I'm rolling with, and Ghost Rider is going to reanimate that death that we discarded off Lady Sif. And that means that even if my opponent has Silver Surfer, we're tied in the flooded location, which is pretty good stuff. And then I'm going to throw Magic into Limbo, unlock Vormir. Magic can sometimes be useful in unlocking flooded locations as well if your opponent plays like a turn 4 Storm or something like that. But also just adding another turn to the game is really helpful, because your opponent can't go Spider-Man plus Absorbing Man twice. Like, that's just crazy. Barring like some very specific locations. And when you throw off the timeline of the game, sometimes that makes it tough for your opponent to continue to play cards. And we get to make a pretty mean play here with Magneto locking my opponent out of plays now for that final turn. Now, Killmonger's going to kill their Rock, so they will still have some plays. That's what I said. Eternity Range, like, even when it looked like it was going to have an impact, really winds up not impacting the game here. And then we can just play Blade plus Hela to finish things off. I am going to think about where I want to put that. If we were to put Blade plus Hela into Limbo, then my opponent could play Silver Surfer and actually still win the game, because they would add 9 power to Limbo. We would add 9 power to Limbo, and then I guess it would depend on what we reanimated and if it hit the 50-50 to land in Eternity Range. So what we actually want to do here is play Blade plus Hela into Eternity Range, and then when my opponent plays Silver Surfer, no matter what happens now, we win the game on Differential. We're going to tie it up to 13 in Eternity Range. We're winning by 15 in the flooded location, losing by 10 in Limbo. We wind up getting one of the better rolls here with Giganto to win that center location. But even if we discarded Moon Knight and that landed over in Limbo, then we would have won by 15, lost by 7, and still won the game. Here's an example of an opponent maybe taking Eternity Range a little bit too seriously. They're going to play a turn 3 Juggernaut to maintain control of that location, giving us a Rock, but winning us Sanctum Sanctorum in the process. Now, there's a chance we would have just won Sanctorum anyways, because we are a Reanimator deck and we are able to play to those lockdown locations, but I will take a free win there for a Rock. That seems like a pretty good trade for me, and my plan here is to kind of continue to throw away Eternity Range. I'm going to play Jubilee there, another kind of junk card, and fill up that location, but Swordmaster then allows us to discard Infinite. So now we'll be able to reanimate that Infinite with Ghost Rider into Jotunheim and win that location. I'm just seeing how I want to sequence things here. Do I want to throw more junk in Eternity Range even? But with my opponent playing a Daredevil this turn, I just want to play a little bit on the safer side here. I'm going to go Blade plus Ghost Rider. Could go Ghost Rider plus Blade. I think that either of those plays are pretty reasonable. But we're going to go Blade plus Ghost Rider, play around Professor X, and my opponent actually has a Hobgoblin. I think that's why they snapped. Hobgoblin into Jotunheim is pretty good, though it's not bigger than Infinite. We're still going to be winning over in that location. And now my opponent has some work to do, because we're winning in 2 locations, and even if they Shang-Chi us in Jotunheim, which is what they have, we're going to be able to just add way too much power to that Eternity Range with our Magneto on the final turn. Rock be damned, we can still win that location with 3 cards pretty easily. I thought this game was a fun one to end on, because I played Infinite into Shuri's Lap for 40 power we're probably going to win that location. And this deck for my opponent, typically not one to run Shang-Chi. So I think we've got Shuri's Lab locked down, though I'm still going to play some cards to it. And this is intentional. I'm thinking that if we fill up Shuri's Lab with our discard effects, then we won't be able to reanimate to that location. So I'm going to play a Lady Sif there this turn. Next turn, I'm going to drop a Swordmaster over there, and then we can Hela, and we can add a whole bunch of power to the other locations. Now, I probably should have played Hela into Elysium. That way we were beating Colleen Wing over there, because I'm probably not winning in Limbo. Got a little bit ahead of myself, and I'm actually going to make this game now very, very close. Hela is going to reanimate Jubilee, which grabs Moon Knight, tying up Elysium, and then Death shows up in Limbo. So this game winds up being pretty dang close for a game that I won by 60 power in one of the locations, but we'll still get there off differential. That is going to be it for me today. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'm No Lux Given. Peace.